Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of the Marketing Rizz podcast. I'm your host, Crispino, and for today's episode, we have with us Deb Coviello. Deb is the author of the book, The CEO's Compass, hosts the podcast called as the Drop In CEO podcast, a public speaker, and clients also refer to her as the CEO Whisperer. Deb brings in 15 plus years of experience working with C suite leaders, helping them navigate the rocky terrain of business and entrepreneurship. So, welcome to the show, Deb. It is great to have you here with us.
Well, Crispina, thank you so much for the opportunity. And I'm just grateful that we're going to have this conversation to share some of my insights about that rocky road, the opportunities ahead when it comes to small business and entrepreneurship. So, again, grateful for the opportunity.
Thank you, Deb. Thank you. And it was a long time since we last connected. I think we connected 3 years ago. So it's been long. So yeah, just to start off with, could you start by telling our audience what you currently do and a bit about your experience?
Oh, yes. Well, thank you. And first and foremost, this is about making a connection with your audience. I am a mother of three adult children, married for over 35 years. I'm a creative person. And while I am a trained engineer, having practiced in manufacturing in various industries over the year, I love the creative process. I love meeting people. Hence why in the latter part of my career, I went into podcasting, writing, and just trying to help people navigate their challenges with confidence. But out of that 30 plus year career in manufacturing, in quality and operational excellence, I later realized that I wanted to start my own business. And,
Mhm.
leveraging my technical talents, I was still good at helping manufacturing executives, but I really wanted to do it on a smaller scale. So, two parts of my journey was how do I start a business? How do I create a brand? How do I build trust with an audience when it's flooded with consultants, fractional leaders, advisors, etc., but also be in service to what I found I love were small and medium sized companies. I love working with C suite leaders that have that awareness that they want to grow, they want to do something different, but they recognize that they may no longer have the internal capability or capacity. And that's a lot of courage. And so those are the people that I
Mm.
serve through my consulting, but I also love the podcasting medium. It's a great way to network and reach more people. So that's just a little bit about me. And if you watch the Olympics, curling is very active right now in the Winter Olympics. I'm an amateur curler. Happy to talk about that as well.
Wow, that's lovely. You're a woman of all many trades.
But I need a lot of sleep to keep up with all of that.
Absolutely, yes. So, Deb, yeah, I was going through your profile on LinkedIn and it said one of your clients gave you a review and called you the CEO Whisperer. So, I would like to ask you, you speak a lot to CEOs and that's mainly your strongest forte. So, what are the main challenges that CEOs are facing, maybe say now as compared to 5 years ago?
Yeah. So the interesting thing is that particular engagement, I was hired as a fractional chief operations officer for a public relations company. And often when businesses want to bring somebody in, it's either to address a crisis or grow the business, build capability. And that's what most of us do. But one of the things I found along the way is that C suite leader, the founder, the president, the CEO needs somebody to talk to. And so one of my advisors said, it's the messy middle of are
Mm.
you a coach or are you a consultant or somewhere in between? So when I think about C suite leaders and the challenges they're having, you have to think about who they are as a person and what their strength is. They may have been a great salesperson, but maybe they don't know anything about operations, or maybe they've always had a great team and now they have people that are not performing. They don't know how to handle some of these situations. And so sometimes they need
Mm.
a partner, a CEO whisperer to just listen to their frustration. And I stole this expression from somebody. Sometimes leaders just want to be heard, or
Mm.
they want to just a hug, or they want to be told how to solve the
Mm.
situation. And some of the people I talk to is they just need to be heard, because by
Yeah.
externalizing and talking through their opportunities and challenges can sometimes help them, or they need somebody that can see them and have clarity for what may be their path forward. So that's how I became the CEO Whisperer.
Awesome. That's an amazing story. So, what would you say, Deb, are some of the most common
Challenges.
problems that you see CEOs facing at this stage?
Yeah, and thank you for that because I may not have fully addressed the previous question. I first addressed why do they even need somebody like me? But there's a couple things that they are facing. One is complexity in the changing landscape. They may have been a great person with a great product and a great way to sell things, but as things get complex, the people that are in their care may no longer have the skills, confidence, capability they need to go to the next level. So they often
Mm,
get frustrated because maybe in the past they had an awesome team and now these people need to grow. A CEO may not have the time or capability to coach them to the next level. So having the awareness that maybe I need somebody to help with that, or maybe they've got a difficult employee. They just don't have the skills
mm,
in the past. They get frustrated, they just fire them or something. They may not have the skills to develop skills of people in their care. Also, the courage to ask for help because a lot of CEOs have a lot of pride. I can do this. I'm the business. I got a great product. And I'm just going to keep pushing my people and cheering them on to keep working harder and longer. And that's how a lot of
mm.
CEOs burn out themselves and burn out their people.
Absolutely. That's very interesting, Deb. So, what would you say there were some of the early signs that you observe or that you can see and identify a crisis or a situation like this is about to come?
Yeah, if I were a fly on the wall looking in, and I've seen this, and in fact, I just experienced this with the current client. There was a CEO
Mm,
that grew the company, and it was an amazing, it is an amazing concept, but it got to the point where he was exceeding his capability. And in pursuit of more business and saying, yes, we're going to do this, and yes, we're going to do that, they lacked the skills to say, okay, what's my strategy? What's my plan? If I wanted to add this capability or expand in this way? What do I need from the people below me? And what wound up happening is he was throwing more and more work and challenges at the people, and the people were basically breaking. People were quitting, people were frustrated,
mm,
and he was getting frustrated because something changed. Well, what changes? He was trying to bring in more business, but not able to also develop the team in a systematic way. So it caused a lot of chaos and crisis. Now, what later
mm.
happened, fortunately or unfortunately, was that there was somebody in their ecosystem that loved the company and had C suite leadership skills that could take it to the next level. Thankfully, in order to save the company, that other C suite leader who was a partner came in and says, let me buy your company. And so they eventually had an agreement where they bought the company, and now that leader is taking it to the next level. So, what I
Mm,
see is those C suite leaders potentially, if they don't start thinking about an exit strategy, who do they need in their ecosystem in order to grow it and backfill skills they don't have? Ultimately, companies can close. You burn the people out, you burn the people quit, and you lose the foundation for what was a great brand. So that's what could
yes,
happen. And I've
absolutely.
seen it happen firsthand. But thankfully, this company is still surviving and now thriving. And I've been part of that journey.
So, Deb, why do you think intelligent leadership,
Yeah.
the founders were obviously capable to get the company to a certain point, right? So, why do
Yeah.
you think from there they failed to execute the strategy and take the company to the next level?
So there's two things, and thank you for just repeating the question so I could just make sure I added it. So one of the things is one, I don't even think they know how to develop a strategy. They just know how to bring in
Mm,
customers, build a pipeline, go, go, go team. And it's actually when I was in a C-suite leadership role, I was kind of lost because all I knew was I was just reacting, reacting, reacting. And I said, I need a
mm,
strategy so I can systematically move things forward. So I took the big corporate strategy, looked at the elements of having the vision, what are my outcomes? What are the pillars? What are the resources I need? What are the enabling projects? And what are the resource plans? And what's that roadmap look like? I had to teach myself how to create a strategy. And so I actually think a lot of these C suite leaders, unless they adopt kind of the entrepreneurial operating system, EOS, or some other system, they're flying by the
mm,
seat of their pants. And this part two of that is they have a playbook that worked for them in the past. And I find it may be a sense of pride. Hey, this has worked for
yeah.
me in the past. I have these relationships. The business is coming in. I'm making money. Things are fine. And then they get
Mm,
to a point where something changed. Maybe the customers are more demanding. They get a big order and now they don't have the operations to sustain it. What got them to where they are now is not going to serve them in the future. So I find, and that's
yeah.
the topic of my next book that I'm going to finish at some point, they need a new playbook. And that playbook may be having external partners, resources to bolt onto the organization at the right time for the right amount of time to get them to the next level. Leaders sometimes just don't have that foresight. Like, okay, I want to keep it small. I want to focus on my core competency, but I need somebody to help me with a strategy and help move the company forward. Those leaders that fail to have that awareness and realize they need to change something else in their operating
Mm,
system are the ones that kind of spiral down and go into crisis. They're very smart. They know what they know, but they
mm.
don't know what they don't know.
So when you face such founders or such entrepreneurs, how do you approach the situation?
Well, I don't judge, at least externally. Inside, I might say, oh my, I've seen this before. Like with any human being, the baseline is they're a human. They've got family, they've
Yeah.
got community. I have to treat them as an equal with respect. I also have to understand who they are as a person. What are their
Mm,
strengths? What got them to this point? What are their gifts? Because I want to have that as my grounding foundation to build off of because I want to leverage their strengths. And then I need to understand history and also what is their vision. And somewhere in there, I will see what are the performance gaps because I go back to my book, The CEO's Compass. A leader is not broken. They're highly intelligent, as you said. But along the way, somewhere they got off track. So as I think through the CEO's compass, do they lack clearly defined purpose? Do they have the right performance measurements? Have they invested in their people to unleash their potential? All of those different compass points, I seek to understand where are the gaps, and that's where we focus. So again, I go in with empathy. I seek to understand what they're wonderful about, and I become that person that bridges the gap between what they're currently capable of and where they want to go.
that's so interesting. And that's such a soft skill that you have, that you're able to actually identify and you have to read and understand the entrepreneur. And I've dealt with them as well. I work as a marketing mentor with many businesses here in India, so I know how difficult it might be to kind of deal with different personalities. So yes, hats off to you for that.
And that's what we need to do is we need to customize. We need to customize our
Yes.
approach. Consultants get a bad name because they bring in their typical approach. And there's nothing typical about a CEO. Every one of them is different. So you need to really
Yeah.
listen deeply because part of that is just building trust. You may still be early in the relationship. You got to build that trust because it's not only the challenge at hand, but it's also then what's the next opportunity and the next opportunity. You and I are not a one and
Mm,
done. We build long lasting relationships with these leaders.
absolutely. So what should a founder focus on, Deb, when moving from a startup leadership to an enterprise leadership?
So, as we spoke about it before, they need to paint a picture of what the future looks like because at the end of the day, they need to pull their people forward and also the people will pull that C suite leader forward. So, paint a picture. If you
Mm,
can't articulate your person, like, why are we here? I mean, I know my purpose is I am here to help people struggle less and be able to do more of the things that they love to do. It's got nothing to do with consulting or building up capacity or helping to get more sales. Ultimately, that's my purpose. And so a leader's got to be very, very clear about that. I always focus on the talent. What do I have here? Because I may have hired this talent. They were great. They were friends, relatives, etc. And they were with me working 12, 14-hour days. But if I want to be able to move the company forward and I sincerely care about the people, what capabilities do I need to build in my people? Like, for instance, if you have a senior person that knows how to operate a piece of machinery, they may not be able to become a department manager, but they can be an excellent trainer for any new people that you bring on board. And maybe while you can't improve their skills and you don't want to fire them, because maybe you need a production manager, leverage their skills as preserving the legacy of the company and the intellectual property and the technical expertise. Let them be a technical leader versus a people leader. So they need somebody to be able to look at the current talent, leverage their strengths, possibly develop people that are new and are hungry to learn new skills, and thereafter, then what external resources they need. I find that any leader normally will focus just on results. How do I get more sales? How do I get more efficiency out of my operations? And those are all lagging indicators. You need to focus on the leading indicators. And I say unleashing the capability of your people because you hired great people to begin with. So now what are the gaps that enable them to move forward? So maybe you've got a great technical person, but they don't
mm,
know how to handle conflict. So they kind of keep things to themselves. Or maybe they do have conflict because they don't know how to communicate with people. Then
yeah.
the performance fails. Focus on how can you improve those skills that, wow, watch their potential happen. Those are the leading indicators of success. And when you can unleash potential and performance, then you start getting on track and performing at a higher level.
That's interesting. Just a thought came to my mind. So I'm dealing with a client right now,
Okay.
and there's a merger and acquisition going on
Hmm.
in their company.
Hmm.
And so I just wanted to understand, like, how should a founder, if there's a merger and acquisition happening, how should that scenario be navigated if you're having conflicts with the person you're merging with?
So is that founder being acquired or are they acquiring a company?
They are being acquired.
Very interesting. And obviously, I can't get into the source of conflict, but obviously, you're trying to merge two cultures together, and that could be very challenging.
Yes.
But I think
There's
that
a major
founder needs,
conflict in the culture.
yeah, I mean, I've had one where, when we think about priorities in manufacturing, it's safety of the people, then quality, then delivery and service and cost. And I'm now with a company, while they recognize quality is important, it's service first, then quality,
Yeah.
and then safety, and then cost. And that violates my values. But I think the first thing they need to do is take the high road, take the position of,
Mm,
even though they may be the smaller entity or the one being acquired, be that C-suite leader to understand the new culture and not and try to find the points of commonality, because at the same time they both want to be viable companies. They want to keep people employed. They want to acquire more customers. Once they have a conversation with the person or entity, they have a conflict, establish points of commonality. Can we all
mm,
agree we want to have more market share? Yes. Okay. But have the courage to say, okay, this is what I'm seeing. Right now, I'm seeing a conflict between this department and that department. Do you see or feel the same thing? What's really important is to establish then also, where is there a gap? Not a conflict, not a problem. It's an opportunity. And that's kind of the path that one would form to say, okay, we are two rich cultures, but there's something in there that's not aligned. Let's see where we can find where we can align and then somehow
mhm.
close the gap with what the current state is and where we want to go together. It really starts with a deep one-to-one conversation with those entities rather than not doing anything. Because I have found people that ignore, a CEO will not address the issue and they give it to somebody else to deal with. People start
Mm.
leaving the company. It's a source of conflict. And then that acquisition ultimately fails.
Yeah, absolutely. When do you think, Deb, should a company resort to an external advisor?
Yeah, well, the first time that somebody starts getting butterflies in their stomach or their heart palpitates, because one of the things is that we as strong, confident leaders is we are very results oriented, very data driven.
Mm,
And I look at the numbers to make a decision. Do I have enough money to bring in somebody else? No, I don't. I got to work on a very limited budget. So they intellectualize conflict or what they're feeling. And we ignore emotions. We ignore the chemistry and the electrical impulses in our body. But it's that other part of the brain that is trying to protect us. So as soon as a CEO or C-suite leader starts getting that uneasiness in their stomach, they can't sleep at night. They're starting to have conflict
mm,
with family. That's the first moment that they need to start considering an external resource, finding a trusted partner to at least start having a conversation with. Because if they wait too long before they do something, then they're going to move a company from going from a chaos. Maybe there's a bit of firefighting right now, but people are still working hard to make things happen. To ultimately, you get into a crisis situation where, in my world, you could have a food safety issue, you could have a recall, maybe not a heart attack. I mean, when you go yourself, your health goes away. So trust your instinct. It's the smartest part of your being. That's the point where you should start saying, do I have the internal capability or capacity? Because maybe I know how to do it myself, but I just don't have the time to do it. I need to be focusing on my purpose. Trust your inner feelings. That's the first moment to start building up that external network. But mind you, C suite
mm.
leaders need to be building up that external network, professional associations, marketing consultants, operation and quality consultants, long before you even start getting to that
Yeah,
point. They forget about that. And I learned that the hard way when I left corporate, started my own business. Nobody knew me on the outside. I have a huge network right now, and it's helping me out in the long run. So trust your gut. It's a good advisor.
absolutely amazing. What do you think, Deb, a sustainable leadership looks like over time?
So, a sustainable leader is one that seeks peace of mind versus chasing results. And that's something I feel very, very strongly about. Most leaders, as they get, maybe they're acquired by private equity or they're still a small company, or, they're very focused on sales or efficiency and profitability. Those are lagging indicators, but when we focus our people on those lagging indicators, it's a long time before you actually see results. And that's not really a good judge of the health of your business and assuring sustainability. I asked the leader to focus on peace of mind. What would it look like to have peace of mind? For me to be able to take a vacation or only come in the afternoon because I know my team understands the mission and has all the capability and capacity to do the work. What does that look like? And I had I've had many experiences, but one experience where I was still a quality engineer in a company. We had a major complaint by a customer, and as part of our corrective action, we were making training videos of what not to do or what to do. And an operator came into the picture while we were filming the video, and I realized they were the ones that wanted to do the training. When that operator started saying, "This is my process and this is how I do it, and here is the impact of my customer if I don't follow the process. That's why we need to do it this, and this way." And as I'm filming this thing, I started getting goosebumps because I said, we did all the right things. Not only did a person in my operations understand what to do, why it's important and the impact on their customer, and they're so close to my customer, I realized I could sleep at night because they had all
Yeah.
the capability and capacity to do the right thing. And when you get those goosebumps or those feelings, or you're closing your mind and you could take a deep breath, that's peace of mind. And if a leader does not have that experience, peace of mind, to know that my people are good, they got everything they need to execute, and they know how to problem solve or escalate something. When leaders
Mm.
pursue peace of mind, they're going to get sustainable results. Those people that just focus on the results are going to be in this wheel of, yay, we got the
The
result.
rat race. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just terrible. So
Yeah.
focusing on peace of mind versus results is going to get you that sustainable business model.
I think, and we can have another podcast completely on that topic as well,
Woohoo!
because that's
I'm up.
very underrated. Yeah.
And
It's
that's
like
why I'm
super
talking so
underrated, I
much
feel.
about it. Yeah, I know. Sorry.
And yes, and that's very important because I've spoken to a lot of leaders and they get stuck in the cycle of evaluations and funding and achieving more than the last quarter, that they forget why they started this all, and they lose their peace of mind and then eventually burn out. So
Yes.
yes, definitely this is very important. Okay. So how do leaders recover from strategic missteps?
Well, get through the process of recognizing the misstep and don't stay there too long. On the other
Mm.
hand, some leaders skip the step of reflecting on what just happened and having that sense of sorrow or disappointment. What I find is that taking a little bit of time to reflect and feel the emotion almost releases the negative energy of the misstep. So you can get through that process of mourning, similar to death. And once you get through that process and give your body permission just to kind of release the energy, then go into a place of reflection on, okay, well, I tried
Mm.
something and it didn't work. And what did I learn for this? Again, this is agile methodology where you want to, go fast and learn something. Just take it as part of the journey. It is a win. Maybe you made a misstep and maybe you lost a little, maybe you lost a lot, but just know that you are brave. You are on this path of entrepreneurship. You have the courage to recognize that I'm going to make missteps, but then I'm going to start going in the right direction more and more. It is a long journey, but if you have that well-defined purpose over time, you're going
Mm.
to embrace these missteps, learn from them, and just know that you're getting to the end or getting to where you're going much, much faster. So don't be so hard on yourself. Take it as an opportunity.
After all, we are all just humans, right?
I agree.
Yes. Deb, that was wonderful. A lot of information shared by you on this episode, and I think it will be very helpful for like, I already know 4 or 5 people came to my mind when you were speaking who this episode could help out. So I'll be sure to send it to them separately. But once again, thank you so much for coming onto the show. It was lovely having you on.
And I'm so grateful and just thank you and wish you continued success with your business, with your clients, and look forward to staying in touch with you. Thank you again.
Thanks, Deb. And before you go, Deb, could you just tell our viewers if they want to get in touch with you for any help or if they need any advice, how could they connect with you?
Again, thank you, Crispino. Best way to get in contact with me are two places, but you could go to my website, dropinceo.com, DROPINCEO.com, or find me on LinkedIn, Deborah A. Coviello, or the Drop In CEO. Very active on LinkedIn. Would love a conversation with you. And thank you again.
Perfect. I'll put down the links in the description of the post. And yes, thank you so much, Deb.
Thank you.